Hello guys, it's Jake from White's for Tactical, and today I'm going to be showing you how to fit an NPAS in a double eagle or Salvo Precision MWS. Okay, now what we have here is the Shadowline Division NPAS. Okay, it's a pretty simple one. It is very similar to the Waldo one. However, this is one of the ones we sell. We do sell the Waldo ones too. These ones you get 2 in a pack and they're $9.99. All right. We're going to be doing a quick NPAS install. Shouldn't take more than roughly 5 to 10 minutes if we don't have any issues, any problems with springs and things like that. Okay, and it is on obviously a gas MWS system. Now there are some other things I'm going to do on this as well, but I'll break it into different videos. So we'll talk about doing the hop rubber on it another time, and this one just needs a little bit of a tighten up in some places, so we'll do that as well. All right. First of all, first things we're going to do is pop over, knock this pin out on the side here. Okay, so we're going to break it down, split it in half as if it would be for a general strip down. Okay, as you can see there, popping that pin out. Okay, I'll just pop that back through. You don't ever leave a pin out. If you do put it down and it bends, it's going to break that pin. All right, so the weapon itself splits into 2 halves like this. Okay, it's just on a lever. Now we're going to pull the charging handle and the bolt assembly and rod as well is going to come out. Okay, now that's what we need right now. We don't need this part of the weapon, so we're just going to put that to one side. Okay, because it's quite bulky and cumbersome. So moving that out of the way, here we've got the bolt itself. Okay, now what we need to do here is take away a few of these parts to get access to into the nozzle, so we could put in the NPAS. Now the NPAS itself, it looks like these. Like I said, you get 2 of them here, and the way that these work is you can adjust a little screw in the back inside there, okay, which allows less or more pressure through. I'll leave this one halfway, and the customer can set that for them, depending on what weight they use and what gas and everything else. All right, so I won't touch that. That'll be for them. However, there is a little video installed on the back of this as well. You can scan the QR code if you are buying these, but I thought while we're here and we're doing it, let's do it on our channel as well. That gives obviously you guys to have a quick look at what we're doing. All right, so find the right screw pieces, and we want to take these screws off the top here. So we're going to unscrew 2 screws at the top. I'm going to keep these out of the way just for a moment. That's one, and the one at the back as well. Now, it is the same for most NPASs, however, they are slightly different on the TM and Noveskis and everything else. All right, so I can't remember the last time I did one of these on a Salvo. However, it's not too dissimilar from the rest. Right, take the top part off here. We won't need those recoil rods and springs. They're pretty easy to get out. And then we have to remove this little bit at the back as well. Okay, so there is a clip up here which removes the whole of this top sheath, which goes into behind the nozzle as well. Okay, now it is seated behind that, so when you lift up the back, you can see there's a spring underneath. Okay, just here. We don't want to lose that spring, so pop that spring out, and then also we need to move the nozzle forward to be able to get access to take in that bit out, right? And again, it's almost like you need a few hands, right? So sliding that out, we now have that out. Okay, that now is removed, which leaves us with obviously the nozzle itself and the rest of the assembly here. Okay, at the back there is this little panel that just slides off, and you'll see all of a sudden the spring jolts straight through. So keep all of this nice and safe, pull that through, and there we go. So now we remove the nozzle. We now need to remove this middle cylinder, okay, and there is a little screw at the top which is holding that through. That goes through a guide which pins it in place. You can see the other side of the screw just on the top there. Okay, so with a little Phillips screwdriver, we're just going to remove that. Doesn't help, incredibly greasy. Again, as always with these things, they need lube, so they are pretty slippy. Okay, taking that screw out from there, like so. Quite a long screw, there we go. And then you should be able to remove the internal part out, okay? So this whole nozzle and valve assembly should just come out like so. And what we're going to do is replace this part here with the NPAS, okay? And now that bit, normally, as you've just seen, comes out here, is seated on the end of this, sits on the end of this part here, okay? And that is what creates your valves and everything and your pressure as it's coming to and from, okay? But we are going to replace it with this one. Now this just sits into the two brackets that we've got either side. Okay, if you can see that on the camera, it's nice and clear there. All right, and that just seats into those two bits. Now there is a spring on the inside as well. It should be right down the bottom. No, cancel that. There's no spring on these ones, is there? It is all spring on the inside. So this is your spring on these instead. Okay, so this spring here is what does the back and forth movement. Okay, and then this little hole here is what that screw goes through. So we want to keep that screw lined up and ready to go through that hole. All right. So what we're going to do first is line all this up. So we can see the opening here, okay, in the top of our nozzle, right at the center, and we've got our MPAS. So put the MPAS on. We want this screw bit to be visible in that hole there. Okay. So we're going to put that in, keep it as straight as we can, and when we see that line up, I can see that screw. You can see it on the video. It's just inside the little gap there. Okay. Once you can see that present, push it in. And we're trying to, I'm going to have to just move it away so I get a bit of light there, sorry, is line up. Perfect. So I can see here, I don't know if you can see it on the camera, but in here I can see now that the light is passing through. I'm just trying to see if I can show you guys. You can't really see. But all you're looking for is a clear pathway through this little hole, okay? And once you've got that, you can drop your spring back in to the top. Pop it as much of the way through as you can. Should wiggle in right before you then need to screw it into the other side, okay? So then we're going to tighten that screw, and hopefully it should all be nice and align with that in place. So just trying to get eyes on myself, so apologies for that, but I'm just checking now that I can see the screw is in there. I can see that. I can see the little thread. I don't know if you could catch that on the camera, but I can see the silver thread. I can see the MPAS. I can see all the holes are lined up, which is allowing the air to come through, obviously, from the router through into the actual nozzle and out the front of the nozzle itself into the barrel, which obviously then pushes the BB out. Okay. Obviously, we've got this little sump plug here, which is designed not to fall out. All right. Now, what we need to do is put this back into our bolt. So we're going to take our bolt like so, okay, the way it was before, and we're going to just pop that back in. If you need to apply grease and lubricant at this point, feel free to do so. The nozzle should be up and open. If the nozzle's the other way, no good, okay? The air can't go through into that, okay? So we need it to go this way, all right? Which sits on like so. It's got your feeder lips, or your nozzle feeder at the bottom, and then that can obviously make contact with the BB. And we need to make sure this little bit here protrudes out of the end itself. Now this can be tricky. You might need to line it up. Sometimes you will need a tiny little tweezers / pliers just to pull that thing out. Once we've got it out like so, we're going to put on that clasp we had earlier just on over the top like that. Okay, now it's out, that's locked in, that is good to go. Okay, there's a little bit of movement there still. Don't worry about that, because obviously that will be maintained and secured by this little part at the top. Apologies, I don't know all the words on all the pieces on this, ladies and gents, okay, but obviously I'm just trying to give you a quick overview, nice, quick, easy to-do guide at home, okay? Now, we want to pop that in, again, under this. We're trying not to stretch that spring at the front too much, but we need to line that up. Again, trying to do it just two hands whilst recording. So that goes on over the top, which is perfect, okay? That's now seated on, but what we don't want to do is have this bit all the way down, because we need to get our spring in. Now, you can see the spring that came out earlier, this spring here. There's a little nipple just there to put your spring onto, and it needs to seat under this, and it sit on this little piece here, okay? Now, this can be fiddly, can require a couple of attempts. What I like to do is just pop it underneath, like so, and use a smaller kind of like screwdriver or something, just to kind of keep pulling that spring back. Flatheads are usually better, just until we can get into that little piece of that little bit of the spring onto the nipple itself, okay? It takes a couple of attempts sometimes. There we go. Now we're on. I'm just going to test that by pulling that back and forwards, and now it should obviously spring back into action like it's doing, okay? Good, we've got that movement. Make sure the spring is nice and free floating and isn't causing any friction anywhere else. Lovely. Good, good. Happy days. Right, now we're going to put the recoil rod and assembly back on top of the bolt, and we're going to pop our 2 screws in on the top. I wouldn't go super tight on these. You want it hand tight, but if you over tighten this stuff, you crack or thread a screw, it's a pain to try and find another one. Or if you damage the actual bolt itself, these things can be hard to find. Okay, so just be careful when you are screwing in. I mean, go to it's nice and tight, but I wouldn't, really cramp this down. You don't want to be over tightening these screws. Pop that on. So I can see now the video is about 10 minutes. Obviously, I've done a fair bit of talking and just taking my time with this. I've put the screws on the wrong way. That's fantastic. So there is a short screw, long screw by the looks of it. One for different one. Again, as I mentioned, I've done quite a few NPASs, but they're all different on different weapons. So apologies on that. If you get it wrong, you get it wrong. There we go. Pop that one out. Short screw in the back on the Salvo, and long screw in the middle. I mean, that was quite clear and evident, to be fair, but there we go. And tighten that up. There we are. World's longest thread. Hopefully it's nice and clear in the video. I mean, I'm not really slowing this one down. It's not that difficult with all the parts, and that you're only looking at assembling the tops of 10 parts maybe to put one of these in. So it's not too difficult. All right. So there we go. That should be in. Recoil rod's moving freely. If you need to grease and lube things up as you go, feel free to do so. This now the bolt carry just sits on top like so. The charging handle, okay, on top of your bolt assembly, and then you can obviously rack that back when you need to. Now all we're going to do is pop that back into our upper receiver. So bringing it back into the shot on the frame. Obviously, as I mentioned, it is split into 2. Keep those other bits out of the way. We don't need them right now. I'll put that back in the bag for the customer, and they can obviously keep it with their spare NPAS should they need it. All right. So bits sit like so. That then slides in and down all together as one solid piece. Lower end receiver in when you've got your line up there. Pin back through. Sorry, taking out a shot again, apologies. Just trying to pop that pin back through because obviously it was closed. Okay, and at the top, pin through like so. And then give it a rack, give it a fire. You can check it all if you want, do a functions test if you need to. Hold the bolt back, all the good stuff, release the bolt, make sure all that's working. And that is it. That's how to install an NPAS, all right? It's pretty simple. It doesn't take too much. It's just a case of being confident and the knowledge, obviously, of the parts itself, all right? So that's that installed. Obviously, the customer has a spare one. We've used a Shadow Line Division NPAS, which is an SLS printed. Okay, it's quite a decent one. I mean, it could always be better, but it is fantastic and affordable for the price. You do get 2 of that. So there we have it, nice and simple. If you enjoyed that, if you needed that, or you had obviously questions on it, or anything else, please, ladies, gents, leave a like, a comment, and obviously let us know your thoughts if there's any problems or issues, all right? Obviously, again, give us a subscribe as well, and hopefully we'll do more content like this for you in the future. All right, enjoy, thank you.